everyone. Oh my goodness, welcome to another edition of Soundbath Sundays. Let's all take a collective release breath. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with a big sigh. Letting go of everything that's been happening throughout this past week, throughout this past year, that we are going into August already. And I have found it so bizarre this year because it has gone so fast and so slow at the same time. It's very weird. It feels like we're getting into a new dimension. And for me, I am actually moving into a more familiar territory because I don't function, well, I have to stop saying that, but in the past, I have not functioned properly in human time. So for me, like 10 seconds, 2 hours go by, and for me, it's like nothing. And so it's been a very big challenge throughout my entire life to adjust to the time patterns of this dimension. And I don't know, some of you might know what I'm talking about. If you experience that feeling of not understanding the time and getting distracted, and all of a sudden an hour has gone by and you have no idea how that happened, that's what I'm talking about. However, there have been so many challenges for a lot of us that when those are taking place, the time seems to stretch like molasses. And then everything seems to go in slow motion, and it kind of feels sticky and uncomfortable because we are being stretched and literally pushed by the universe to face issues and challenges and patterns from our life that are coming to the surface for us to actually let them all go. So when you experience things, observe, take away the faces involved in the situation and look at it from a more objective point of view, and observe if those patterns that are appearing have been a recurring theme in your life. For example, same boyfriend, different face, right? We seem to have one relationship that kind of keeps happening over and over again with different people. When I first got divorced, there was a void in my life, and because I didn't immediately fill it with another type of relationship, the same relationship showed up as my talent agent. Go figure. But at that point, I realized it very quickly, nipped it in the bud, and moved on. So when you become aware of these relationships, you can literally the awareness creates a different possibility, creates change when you make a different choice, because now you know what you didn't know, right? Because these things are what you don't know that you don't know. And when the awareness happens, you're like, oh, I hadn't. It's so simple, right? However, it becomes very difficult sometimes to see the patterns when you're on the inside, when you're going through the pattern yourself. People on the outside might be, you're repeating the pattern, but when you're in it, you can only see so much. You don't see the big picture. Now, today's theme, self-care through feast or famine and thick or thin. Here's the thing, self-care I equated to advertising. Why is that? In advertising, when things start going badly, the money stops flowing, there's crisis happening, the first thing that people cut out of their life and their business is their advertising budget. Now, is that the smartest thing? No. Is that the most, the easiest thing to do? Yes. However, it's not the wisest choice. And the same thing happens with self-care. When we're going through a time of calm in our lives and the money's flowing and things are going well, it's easy to take an afternoon off and go get a massage because A, you have the time to do it, B, you have the money to do it. However, when crisis hits, the first thing to go that we tend to cut out of our lives is self-care. Why? We stop sleeping properly. We start thinking, being so much in our head, and we seem to, that time warp starts happening, right? Everything just starts to happen very quickly. We start feeling or choosing to not have enough time to do these things, and we cut them out of our life. Now, is that the easiest thing to do? Yes. Is that the wisest thing to do? No. So same thing as the advertising budget, right? Now, what are the gifts of self-care? Well, first of all, you're having a massage every week, every 2 weeks, even once a month, you're going to have physical well-being, right? If you keep going to the gym, right? We cut going to the gym, we cut the massage, we cut the special outings, and we start to get in our hamster wheel, and it becomes harder and harder to jump off. Then there's also the emotional aspect of self-care. It gives us emotional well-being. It starts giving us a sense of peace and calm. And then, as inside, so outside, as above, so below, when you're calm on the inside, then you will reflect calm on the outside. That will get, in turn, reflected back into your life. And the most important thing, mental clarity. I don't know if it's the most important thing, but when you have mental clarity, you are able to see more opportunities, to see more options, to step away from your problem and be able to have more possibilities in your life instead of getting stuck, like I said, in that hamster wheel of doing, right? Because we forget that we are human beings and we begin to believe that we are human doings. And so the more we do, the more we think we're advancing, and that is the fallacy, that is the lie. Because doing doesn't equate accomplishing. It doesn't equate better quality of life. It doesn't equate having the best solution for your challenge. It just equates tired, burnt out, and overgived, or gived out, as I call it. When you give, and then there's no replenishing of your own patience and love and clarity, and then we get gived out, and then we start we start reacting instead of responding to situations, and that is not necessarily the best thing that could happen, because then we get results that we are absolutely not happy with, and then we wonder what happened. So I'm not going to touch on the self-care things or tools that you can use when there's feast and thickness in your life and everything is swimmingly going along. I am going to touch on the tools for self-care during thin and famine, because that's when we tend to just let them all go. Now, I have dedicated the past, I think about 10 years already, to finding what I call physio hacks. Little things, and I heard one of my coaches the other day say, it's like the little hinges that open big doors. And I love that. You know, little things that you can do that can create massive change in your life, but they're fast, they're easy, they are so simple that sometimes you might think that I am proposing for you to do something really stupid. Yeah, it might seem to be very even stupid, but these things are so effective, and they create such immediate change in your body, in your mind, in your emotional state, that they open big doors. You can really get yourself out of being completely stressed by turning off your sympathetic nervous system. And it takes 17 seconds, sometimes less, but 17 seconds of doing something can shut off your stress response in your body, the fight, flight, or freeze response, and will give you access to your prefrontal cortex, the area in your brain where you are able to make a decision, where you're able to think, and where you're able to access all of the library of information that you have, that you've stored from, if you believe in previous lifetimes, from lifetimes. If you just believe in this lifetime, then from whenever you were in the womb, you are gathering information, and your brain starts, the minute your brain gets formed, it starts literally recording everything that goes on around you, things that you don't even know, because we have a filtering system in our brain, and that filtering system only allows into your conscious mind the things that it's programmed to receive. I'm going to say that again because a lot of people, it takes a little bit of thinking to get that. The reticular activating system in your brain is a filter that only allows into your conscious mind whatever it's programmed to receive. Basically, if it's not programmed to receive abundance, it will never see abundance. I remember being at a seminar called The Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And it was a wonderful experience. And one of the exercises was that the coaches went around and they threw pennies everywhere. Now, I am very programmed to find pennies and money on the floor everywhere. I find money everywhere. But I remember that I was seeing all these pennies, and I'm like, where are all these pennies? I was finding them before they even announced what we were supposed to be doing. And one of the coaches just wait, you have to wait till the exercise happens. However, at the end of the exercise, there were a ton of pennies left. And there were a ton of people who couldn't find one penny on the floor, because they were just not programmed to see money everywhere. So where are you programmed to only receive things that are not what you need in the moment? So here's the thing. You have the power to reprogram and clean that filter, and then start putting things in that filter so that it recognizes a different things, so that they're serving you better, right? You can create more abundance, more ease, more time when you know how to reprogram that filter. Now, you can also do what I like to do, which is the physio hacks, which go under, around, over that filter. It doesn't have to deal with the filter. It just goes straight through your subconscious and conscious mind, because there's no barrier to it, because it's so simple. And the mind and the filter, the reticular activating system, doesn't recognize it as a threat. Because the reason that filter is in place is to keep you safe and to keep you alive. All right? So when this filter senses a threat, it will immediately try to eliminate it, or resist it, or try to run away from it. If it doesn't perceive it as a threat, it will allow it to go in. So these are the tools that I love to use to create a sense of well-being, to lower my stress, and to be able to access my noggin. Now, here's the thing. There are so many of these tools that you can use, and throughout my courses, you will see I teach a speed reading class called Sync Learning, where I teach a ton of these tools that are so amazing. They're almost like magical. It's almost like having a fairy wand where you can literally start to use your mind in a different way. You start using more of your both hemispheres to solve problems. So if you are presented with a, let's say, a rational math problem, you can use more of your creative brain, right? You use more of your left and right hemispheres together to solve problems in different ways, and then limitless opportunities start to show up in your life. And one of the things that I love to do is physio hacks that will not only shut off your sympathetic nervous system and stop the adrenaline, the cortisol from flowing and paralyzing you, and then they start activating the parasympathetic nervous system where your feel-good hormones start flowing, but also to elevate, raise the vibrational frequency of your mind and your body. When you start raising your vibration, then the lower vibrations immediately start to literally melt away because they're not compatible. Like attracts like. And the stronger frequency is the one that will be dominant. A lot of my teachers used to say the higher frequency will drag the lower frequency up to meet it. But I have found that to not be the case, at least for me. Because, for example, if you walk into an accident scene where there's a ton of people in an accident or something terrible happened and there's a bunch of people involved in that lower frequency when the crisis is happening, if somebody walks in la 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 vibrating very high, chances are that that person is going to immediately get dragged into this lower frequency because it is such a strong field. So whenever you start creating a stronger field, it's almost like a muscle. I believe that our vibrational field is the same as our brain, the same as our heart is a muscle. And the more you work it, the more you practice these tools, the stronger it'll get. And the stronger you become, where you don't come into a room, for example, in a perfectly good mood, and all of a sudden you find yourself that you're in a bad mood and you don't know what happened. How many of you have that happen to you, where you're perfectly happy and all of a sudden you're in a bad mood and you don't know where that came from, right? You have no reason, and it's because maybe you walk into a room where there's been an argument, or somebody's having a bad day, or something bad is happening, and you literally absorb that frequency and your energetic field gets weakened. So my aim is to teach you all these physio hacks so that you can become stronger energetically, vibrationally speaking, so that you become an agent of change. Whenever you come into the room, you're the light that is getting spread around the room instead of the gloom and doom. Okay, so one of those tools, very simple, self-massage. How many times do you give yourself a massage? Learn that. YouTube, my best friend YouTube, has a bunch of videos on self-massage and how to find your stress points in your arms, in your legs, in your body, in your neck, in your head, and start dissolving those points and that creates almost like a traffic jam in your energy. So when you start softening up these points, those traffic jams start to dissolve, and the chi, the energy, starts flowing again in your body, creating a great sense of well-being. Another thing you can do, go out in nature, go to a park, lean your spine, pick a tree that you love and lean as much of your spine against the tree trunk. Trees are here not only to gift us with the oxygen that we breathe, but they also nourish the earth with our stress and our bad feelings. They just pull it out of us and send it down to the earth for the earth to transmute that. I used to think, oh my God, I'm giving all this garbage to my tree. I had a favorite tree when I lived in Riverdale in New York. I love this tree. I visited this tree almost every day. And I always worried that I was giving it all my garbage. And one of my teachers told me, no, you're actually feeding the earth. So don't feel bad. Just go ahead, lean on a tree. There's a lot of people that go and hug a tree. You can do that too. Just being in nature, walking barefoot, that will align your frequencies to those frequencies of the earth and give you a great sense of relief. So self-massage and being out in nature. And the other one, right, the physio hacks and sound. Sound is such an easy thing. You can listen to a sound bath for a few minutes and you will be vibrating in the most amazing way, and literally your problems start to melt away. I have had a very challenging month, to say the least. I can equate this month that has gone by to one of the worst times in my life when I was getting divorced. And I have gone through an emotional roller coaster. However, these tools have literally been a lifesaver for me. Throughout it all, I've had insomnia a little bit, but nothing compared to what I used to have when I was going through stress. I've been able to receive all of the emotion and not hang on to it. There are times when, yeah, I feel like I'm swimming in my garbage a lot. However, I now have the choice to keep swimming in it or make a different choice and move on from it and allow magical things to happen. Now, one of the most important exercises that I've done throughout my entire life, I think I've been doing this for about 30 years, and I do it off and on. I should be more consistent, but it's something that I recommend that you all do, is my gratitude journal. All you have to do is keep a piece of paper and a pen by your nightstand, and right before you go to bed, write 5 things for which you're grateful for. And right when you wake up, write 5 things for which you're grateful for. There will be times, I know, when you can't find something to be grateful for. More and more these days, we're all more focusing on gratitude, and I think it's become an easier journal to do. However, there are times when you're going through so much garbage that you can't think of something to be grateful for because it's so much easier to focus on everything that's going wrong. But if you have to write the same thing 5 times, go ahead and do that. The thing is getting yourself in the habit of looking for the gift. I always say that in every situation, as bad as it can be, there's always a gift. Now, I'm still looking for my gift. I will let you know when I have found it. But to tell you the truth, throughout this whole thing, I have the most amazing and fabulous parents. I'm so lucky and so blessed. And so that's what's been keeping me going. The fact that I have such classy human beings for parents. And I could not be more grateful. So that alone is such a gift. So there's one of my gifts, and I'm sure I have more waiting for me. So today, on my lovely Florence Scovel wisdom book, I opened it, and guess what? Choosing to be happy. It's a choice to be happy. So every morning, every moment when you're having all that crap falling on you, you can choose to be happy anyway. And I opened it into a page that had all these affirmations, and they're all about happiness. I'm going to read to you the whole page. The first one is, my good now flows to me in a steady, unbroken, ever-increasing stream of happiness. My happiness is God's affair, therefore no one can interfere. As I am one with God, I am now one with my heart's desire. I give thanks for my permanent happiness, my permanent health, my permanent wealth, my permanent love. This one was my favorite today. I am harmonious, happy, and divinely magnetic, and now draw to me my ships over a calm sea. That is because she writes that probably even this chapter, my ships come in over a don't care sea. So Florence says that your abundance and your desires will come to you when you are completely detached to the outcome. You become magnetic to your desires. Because if you are desiring something too much, you're actually repelling it. You become like the magnets when they're like two positives that they just get pushed apart. And what you do when you release that desire, that becomes a want, because wanting is not having. I shall not want this, I shall not have. So when you literally don't care and remain happy throughout, then you become magnetic to that attraction. So that pole gets turned to, let's say, negative, and then the positive will come and hit you right in the face. And then the last one, well, there's two more. God's ideas for me are perfect and permanent. And my heart's desire is a perfect idea in divine mind, incorruptible and indestructible, and now comes to pass under grace in a magical way. So I love Florence. If she's anywhere in the ether, she knows how much I love her. This is my elderflower brew. So now let's go ahead and receive our sound bath. Let's get ourselves vibrating in a very high frequency today. We're going to focus on 528 hertz, which is the frequency of love and miracles. Now, who cannot use a miracle? Let's all connect to that energy and that frequency. Go ahead if you're sitting down. Uncross your feet. Wiggle your toes. Place your hands, palms facing up, on your thighs or on the sides of your body. And if you're lying down, just same thing. Just place your hands facing palms up on the sides of your body. Make sure your spine is as straight as possible. And you go ahead and do 3 to 6 releasing breaths in through your nose. Hold for one or two counts, whatever feels organically natural. And then release with a big let it all go. Now you may feel that you need to do the whole 6 breaths. Go ahead and do as many as you need. The deeper you breathe, the more you allow yourself to release. The more you untangle the knots, the energetic knots in your body, and allow that chi to start flowing freely again. If you haven't already, you can go ahead and close your eyes. Whenever you're ready, take a deep, deep cleansing breath again. Let it all go. Open your heart, open your mind, open your awareness to receive everything and judge nothing. And find that gift that may be hidden under a lot of stuff, but it's there for sure. I love you very, very much. And follow me on Instagram at Jana Healing. I'd love to see you there. I love you, and I will see you next week.